Anyways, welcome to episode 1. We just recorded for like 10 minutes, but then realized there was stuff wrong with the recording, so now we're actually restarting. Welcome to episode 1. We're really professional YouTubers. I love it. Oh my god.
Why not be specific and say that you were only recording my voice and not your own voice?
I was only recording
it would have just been
his.
a one-sided podcast.
Yep, it was a one-sided podcast, and it was completely my fault. Yep. Yes, sir.
Is this your new character where you talk like this the whole time? No? Okay.
No.
The end.
The end. End of podcast.
Thanks for coming to our 1-minute podcast.
Hey, welcome to episode 1. I totally am not restarting right now. Hello. Now I'm a robot. How are you today?
Welcome. I actually started episode 0 with a robot voice. The very first thing I said was hello.
Oh yeah, that's
and then
true.
I realized, wait a minute.
That's true.
Why did I do that?
Oh my god.
That's the worst way to start
like
being
this?
a character on a show is to not be yourself.
Yeah. Dude, not to just suddenly start talking about how YouTubers YouTube again, but I'm very into like how people like create YouTube videos, but I never actually like doing it yourself is actually way different of an experience than consuming the content of people telling you how to do it. So in case you didn't realize, recording a YouTube video is incredibly difficult because you're not talking to anyone. I mean, I'm talking to you, but we're producing content for you,
Yeah.
someone.
Hi.
Yeah, hello. But like, you're not literally there. So we have to like somehow stay true to ourselves, but also make sure that we don't like put on some kind of weird facade on accident, because you're just talking into like a void. It's like worse than Twitch, because Twitch like chat will respond and be like, why are you doing that? Or like, what do you think about this? And then you forget about it. But like right now I'm just like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
I feel like the content that we're making is still a conversation though, so we're like, this is basically how we talk to each other more or less. Like,
yeah, that's true.
I don't feel like I'm putting on a huge character like, well, hey, hello everybody.
Yeah.
Hey there, gamers.
Well, I mean, like that's like you're not like thinking about it, but then you do it on accident. Like how it's like, hello, welcome to the first episode. Whoa. And then you were like a robot.
I think that's the real problem, is that like I do that IRL, like when I'm interacting with people, I'll sometimes go a little wacky, and then I'm like, oh, I should probably, if people don't know who I am yet, I should probably be a little bit more consistent, maybe. But then that's not being me, so maybe I shouldn't be consistent.
Do you ever like for like interviews, for example, for like jobs, or like you're just your job in general, do you ever like worry about like how you sound? Because like not how you sound, but like what you're saying, because you can't like go into work and say like, Pog, that's dope, I love it. It just doesn't.
A little bit. I'm pretty good at like turning on. It's a mix, because I'm pretty good at turning on business speak mode, and I sometimes surprise myself with it when I haven't done it in a while, where like suddenly I rattle off a thought and I'm just like, oh wow, that really sounds like I know what I'm talking about. Sheesh. But then at the same time, I've generally been on teams at my jobs where like everyone's pretty casual about stuff.
Oh,
so
that's
like,
true, yeah.
I wouldn't say Pog because people wouldn't know what Pog meant, I assume.
Yeah.
But I can speak colloquially. I don't have to like say, well, the financial numbers this Q4 are better than the ones in Q3. And if I said that's pretty cool, I wouldn't like get kicked out of a meeting or something. Like, well, surrender your tie at the door.
I guess like you change your speech patterns based on who you're talking to, huh? Because like if I'm talking to chat, like I use all the Twitch terminology, but like if I'm just at like my job, obviously I'll use job terminology, which Twitch chat probably wouldn't even understand. So yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
But I do that to everyone I talk to too. Like, it's always been an interesting thing for me where it's like people talk about like not like being sincere versus like not playing a character when you're talking to somebody. But in a way, I feel like I'm always being myself, but I'm being different parts of myself to different people.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Like, and I don't mean that in like a way where I'm like faking it or I'm being insincere, but like if you like video games, I'm going to talk to you about video games. If you don't like sports, I'm not going to mention sports.
Yeah.
So
because the conversation wouldn't go anywhere.
Times
this wouldn't work.
Right. And so like as a conversationalist, I want to make sure that you're having a good time talking to me, because I want I want you to like me when I'm talking to you. So I try to make sure that
is that why you never talked to me about football, Hryv, and sports balls?
Do you want me to talk to you about football? I'll talk to you about football right now.
Confuse
It'll be
me.
A football pod. Welcome to Jax Hryv's football podcast.
But am I talking about like football Americano or no? Never mind.
Why not both? We'll talk about futsal too.
No los dos. I don't know anything.
We'll talk about the differences between Canadian and American football. We can talk about Aussie rules football. I love Aussie rules
I was just
football.
in the middle of saying that I really don't know anything, and you just immediately spring something that I don't know to me. There's a difference.
Oh, I could give you a 35-minute lecture on Aussie rules football, but I won't do that right now.
Oh my God, I was just joking.
See, like I said, it's one of those things where like I talk to different people about different things, and we interact in different ways, but I don't think it's being insincere, and I don't think it's like putting on a mask. It's more just trying to create the best possible conversation so that your friendships between people are the highest.
Yeah, for sure.
It's led me to weird places before, though, because I remember once I was sitting at a table. It was like a study group for school, and I was sitting at the table with my friend who was running the study group, and somehow there was a different friend sitting at the table that I just didn't know was even there. And these are two people who I like act very differently around.
Oh God, yeah. Wait, so you were like...
So like one was like...
talking to
one
person.
was like my roommate who, like the one who was... Right, so the one who was running it was like my roommate. We were really close. Like we would talk to each other in funny voices all the time. And then the other one was like, I don't know, like sort of think of like the friend that you talk about sports and you play Halo with. Yeah. Like it was very like he was very
whoops.
Yeah. So then like 20 minutes into a conversation, I look and I see him there and I just froze because I'm like,
oh my God,
that's anything crazy and stupid.
Yeah.
Like I was still being myself, but I was definitely being a different self than the self he knows. How many selves do I have? Which one's the real me? Are any of them the real me? Who am I?
Dude,
so I was having this like weird.
That's so true.
Like,
I was thinking about that. Like I watched a video about Corpse actually, and how he's like living like a double life because he has his online persona, right, where he's Corpse, right, the one that we know. And then, you know, he doesn't want people to know about his IRL self. So that's his, you know, obviously, like a lot of us can relate to that because like, I don't, you know, a lot of us don't share our IRL selves with our online people, friends, because, you know, we don't know.
You're basically the VR Hannah Montana.
Yeah, exactly. But like Corpse, like it also works in the other direction for Corpse, which a lot of us can also still relate to. But like, he doesn't share his online persona with people IRL. Like, I don't even know if like his family knows, because then they'll go to his, like there's the added factor of like, what if they accidentally share that part of you with your online people that you like, you know what I mean? Like it adds more liability to like the separation, which I have also had problems with. I've had people like way in the past, so you're not gonna find it now, but they come into my chat and be like, hey, IRL name, how's it going? And I'm like, can you fucking stop? Can you not? Thanks. Can you please? Yeah. So I'm sure that like on Corpse's level, that's like way worse. Like with all those fans.
Yeah, I very specifically, like, I made different email addresses. I told my friend, like, I have a few friends who know that I have like online friends, but I don't like name any names or I'm just like, I don't. And I have one or two friends where like I would like introduce you to my internet friends, but at the same time, like, and they were like, no, that makes sense. I probably just call you by your real name accidentally. Like,
yeah, exactly. Because that's the part they know of you. Yeah. Like they're just used to that, and they would be like, "Hey, IRL name? Oh, I didn't mean to say that. I mean, online name." And then it's just too late. Like I raided somebody one time, and they were like, "Oh, thanks for the raid, IRL. I mean, and then I'm like, it's okay. Just pretend it didn't happen." And like, it's not that big of a deal for like somebody of my size, because like maybe only like 20 people or whatever heard. But if it was like corpse, like he would be fucked.
Right. I was like, because even if like I found out your first name, like, oh no, how would I find out the rest of it? But I feel like if you're someone at that level, then someone's gonna like piece together all the little bits and be like, oh,
people get crazy.
You mentioned that.
Like the parasocial relationships are so much higher when you have more popularity. People get really obsessed, and like any smidget of like just information, they'll try and piece together like a jigsaw puzzle. And I don't know, scary.
Or I don't know if I imagine it's a little bit of both, where you have. I think you probably have a higher likelihood of someone who is more obsessive being able to find you.
Higher
I feel like you could have somebody who wanted to find you that badly too. Yeah. It's less likely because you don't have millions of people looking at your content.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yet.
Hey, yo, like, comment, subscribe. No. Hey, yo.
Yeah.
That being said,
anyway.
With this podcast, we are not at all making it in like a trying to get views kind of way. Like, it's literally got a default thumbnail. Like, we're just doing this for fun. Like, it's a side project for sure. And like, if it didn't turn out good and we didn't like it, like, we probably just wouldn't post it. Like this one.
We'd still post it.
Just kidding. Yeah, I posted the first one. Were you proud of me? You made a joke.
I know. I gave it about a 70-30 that you'd post it.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna.
Like, I figured you probably would, but there was also a world where you were just like, I really need to edit it, and then like 2 months later, you're just like, I can't.
That's a real problem.
Yeah,
where like I could edit this more, but then I just force myself to post it anyway, because I know I could just keep editing it and doing more with it. Like, I could have added like a title slate or something, but what if we changed the title? Oh my god. You know what I mean? So I just put a fade in.
Exactly.
And it's like, it's not for views, so it's just like, it's whatever. People that want to watch it, that's cool. Like, thanks for watching. But if you don't want to, then whatever. I'm not like trying to trick you into watching.
I think it'll be great if people enjoy watching it, but at the same time, I don't think we need to like use SEO tactics and special like 16 ways to make more people watch your. No, if you happen to stumble upon this and you like listening to us talk, and you're gonna fall asleep to the sound of whatever sounds are in this world while we're talking, or
wake up. I mean, what?
Sleep well. No, you ruined the whole thing for them. Gotta start over now.
Oh shoot! Gotta restart the whole podcast. Oh god. Fall asleep right now. DMCA. What were you saying?
Is it? I don't know.
I don't actually.
No, it's not anymore.
It's not. It's happy birthday. It's to the tune of Happy Birthday. Yeah. It's not DMCA.
Yeah, and
nobody owns it.
The tune of Happy Birthday is finally public domain.
Woo! Why was it not?
In like the last decade. Well, because
what happened?
Copyright law is extraordinarily long.
Is that true?
Is the punchline.
Well, who owns it?
Yeah. So I think currently, I don't have this up, so someone in the comments could. No, it's public domain.
Oh, okay.
But I think currently the law for copyright is you hold the copyright, or you or your estate hold the copyright for the life of the author plus
like 60
75 years, I think.
Oh, yeah,
something like that. Every time that what is it? Is Steamboat Willie the first Mickey Mouse cartoon? I think. Every time the first Mickey Mouse cartoon is starting to get close to its copyright expiration, then suddenly a new bill appears in Congress saying we should really extend the length of copyright.
Wait. Like, for real? Like Steamboat Willie? Is that what you said?
I think that was the name of it. It was the first Mickey Mouse cartoon. So,
but like that affects Congress. Or was that just an example?
Well, right. No, that is very specifically, and this is not trying to like start beef with Disney. Disney, if you want to sponsor us, that'd be great. But hashtag ad. Hashtag not ad.
Hashtag not ad. Hashtag if you haven't heard of Disney, I don't. Where are you? Where are you
Okay.
living? You're living in a rock.
But yeah, they very specifically have lobbied to extend copyright because if the first cartoon with Mickey Mouse in it comes into public domain, anyone can make a Mickey Mouse cartoon. Like, because that's how public domain works. Is if the character is 100% public domain, you couldn't take the later iterations of Mickey. Yeah, but Mickey as the original character,
the original Mickey,
is now public domain.
Oh God.
Yeah, so you could make your own.
How do they keep it like their domain, the original one?
That's
so confusing.
Have
actually,
lawyers talk to people in the U.S. Congress who then who go, that is a good idea.
What?
Maybe we should make copyright law longer. Yeah, that's how lobbying works, is you pay enough money and then people will think that your ideas are good. And then they'll subscribe to your YouTube channel or pass laws for you or whatever.
I have no amount of money to lobby to Congress to tell them to subscribe to my YouTube channel.
I know,
Dang it.
it's
How am I going to
disappointing,
lobby?
But I mean, it's not just Disney. There are plenty of other interests who also would.
Yeah, but like what else?
In general,
like
if you're
if
you're owning a song or something,
you would just extend the.
Yeah. So every time that the law changes, it rolls. It like works backwards.
Yeah.
So unless your thing has come out of I think it's if it has come out of if it's in public domain already, then they're not gonna unpublic domain it. But if it hasn't yet, then they're like, oh, we added 20 years to it. Cool, you have the property for 20 more years.
Holy shadoodles, that's wild.
And that's why, going back to Happy Birthday was written in 1928 or something.
But then whoever owned it just couldn't claim it again, or lobby, I guess.
Well,
we're yeah. That's so confusing.
Yeah. I mean, they'd passed away 50 years before, but I think it might have been Warner Brothers, but I'm not sure, so I don't want to like call them out. But some company had bought the rights to the song, and as long as you have the rights to the song, you actually kind of need to pursue it, or you could lose the rights to it.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the reasons that companies like Adobe, for instance, who makes Photoshop, they'll have a page on their website that specifically says, like, don't use Photoshop as a verb. It is the name of a product. It is not a verb. Do not say this product was like, this picture was photoshopped. Say, and then it's funny because no one will ever say this.
Nobody ever says that.
This photo seems to have been edited with Adobe Photoshop Elements software.
Nobody was Adobe Photoshop Elements TM registered copyright pending or like whatever the fuck. It's like a really long title.
But the problem, and Nintendo has had the same issue where they're like, Nintendo is not a generic term for video game. Don't say it. Yeah. Don't say I went to my friend's house to play Nintendo. Say I went to my friend's house to play video games on his Nintendo
Entertainment
GameCube
system.
console.
What the heck? Oh my god.
But the consequences, if they don't do that, is if a word enters the public lexicon in a way where people just use it generically, they can actually lose their trademark.
Oh my god, imagine.
I believe the term is called genericide. It's happened.
Yeah. Like, do you know of some, like an example?
Yes. There's the Otis Company, who had two inventions that you've probably used recently, I would imagine.
Kleenex.
The brand names of them are the escalator and the elevator.
Oh my god. No shot.
An elevator is just used to be just a brand name for a type of lift.
Elevator was a brand name?
Everyone called, the Otis elevator.
What?
But everybody just called everyone called all lifts elevators. Yeah. And then
it's so generic. It's too generic. You can't call it an elevator because it's literally just elevatoring. Like, that's a verb.
I mean, but there's plenty of names like that now. Like, I can't think of any right now, but it's only generic because you're so used to it. But if I told you, hey, these things are called lifts and this brand is called elevator, and then everyone just starts calling it elevator, then
that's why like the car, like Lyft, the car Uber brand, they have a Y in them. Because that why? Does that explain that? Because you could like you're lifting someone.
Well, I mean,
Take the
Uber is a
lift.
real word-ish.
Grab a lift.
So like, I
but
feel like there's not too much of an issue. Or like Twitch is a good example. Twitch is just a word.
Nobody like Ubers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the brand name. Take an Uber.
Do they not?
Oh my God! Wait, people do actually say Uber around.
Yeah,
I'm scared.
Google
scary,
is
dude.
one that I'm surprised hasn't had an issue with it because everyone says they Google.
Just Google
things.
it. True.
Even years ago, I heard someone. I don't know why they said it, but they used a phrase that made me laugh for like minutes at a time, which was I Googled it on Bing.
Yeah, it sounds really weird when you say it very specifically. Yeah.
I searched for something on Bing, but yeah, they were using Google as just the verb to search.
Nobody bings anything.
Using a different product.
Oh, I'm gonna Bing it. It just sounds like sexual or weird. Like, oh, I'm gonna Bing it. Sounds like
it's a type of cherry, isn't it?
It's uncomfortable. Wait, really?
I think Bing is a style of cherry.
I thought there was only maraschino. That's the only one that I know.
There's hundreds of kinds of cherries.
Is that even how you pronounce it? Is it maraschino?
I imagine it's probably like, I say maraschino, but I imagine it's probably like the name of a place, and the place is actually
like
in a different language or something.
The exact vineyard.
Maraschino?
Maraschino vineyard. Do cherries grow on vines? Am I high now?
No, Vine's not. No one uses Vine anymore. It's only.
Oh my God, dude! I miss Vine. You sent me a Vine, didn't you? I do.
I did. I sent you a Vine last week.
Yeah, the website's still up, which was somehow surprised me. Like, it's still hosts and all those.
You can't post things on it, and haven't been able to for like 5 years or something.
How do you search? Can you search? I didn't like use it, but.
I didn't use it either. That's a good question. Imagine if you could like.
Yeah, like what if there's all.
I feel like
unlisted?
Vine archaeology would kind of be fun.
Vine archaeology, dude. You just type in like random URLs, you find like the craziest like vintage shit. That'd be amazing.
But like vintage vines that were undiscovered.
Yeah, like they never popped off, but they're really funny. Oh my God.
That I feel like that's content that could exist. Like the Vine archaeologists, and you just post undiscovered Vine compilations.
Welcome to Walmart.
All right, pivot.
The original Welcome to Chili's before it was stolen.
Podcast is over.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Podcast is over. We're gonna go watch Vine for 24
later.
hours.
We're gonna watch
stream,
Vines.
Make a better series.
Oh my God, just like reacting to Vines. I was thinking about that. It would be kind of like cool, like not to just podcast forever, but maybe like have something to like react to and then discuss off of. Like we would like watch like one Vine and then use that as something to talk about. That'd be kind of cool. Shouldn't restrict ourselves to just podcasting, but we are right now
Watch
because we're
one
still in
5-second video.
Yeah.
Watch one 5-second video and then just talk about it for an hour.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That does sound kind of fun.
I wonder if we could.
I mean, it's a good catalyst.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there was that was similar to an idea that I had at one point where it was just like, what if I just came in with a weird word of the day, like just something to
having a
start conversation. And like you and I are really good at tangents.
We are really good at tangents. Oh my God, we're so good at tangents. Mathematics. Oh, can I talk to you about calculus? I love it. Have you ever derived a... Yeah, dude, I'm out, dude.
I love putting the opposite over the adjacent.
Stop. I don't want to talk about math.
Right? Yeah.
I'm out.
SOHCAHTOA.
No, stop. Okay. The school PTSD's coming back. Make it stop. I remember it like in, I think it was middle school, how suddenly I'm talking about math. My teacher, my algebra teacher, he was like, I'm going to introduce you to trigonometry. And everyone was like, oh, is that the triangle rotation thingy thing? And he's like, yes. SOHCAHTOA. And we're like, that sounds kind of weird. Trig
was always my worst topic for whatever reason.
I
think it's trig and geometry just because I can't picture things, so not being able to imagine what a shape looks like makes that kind of thing a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Plus,
draw it out every time.
The way that my school was set up, I don't want to get too deep into that, but I was in the equivalent of like a remedial version of geometry just based on how my schedule worked out for school.
Yeah.
So like all my other classes were like, hey, are you interested in math? I'm like, yes, I am. This is me in 8th grade or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was in mostly classes for like people who were really excited about school. And then I ended up for geometry in the class where like the teacher would just like look at us and be like, hey, did you guys do your homework? And I was like, no. And he would just like hit his head on the chalkboard a few times.
That's like always worried about.
I hate this class.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Imagine just the entire class is just like, did you do the homework? Okay, let me go over it again. And then you just learn nothing new except for stuff that's on the homework. And that's a real remedial class. Just trying to get
that class.
Just trying to get your students to do anything, basically, and pass because you don't want them to be there anymore.
That being said, we did that in our other classes too sometimes, so I can't.
Oh, like every class?
We had in my physics class had a computer lab in the back for whatever reason for like the 2 times we needed computers during physics class.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
We would like we would go in sometimes and the teacher would just be like, all right, today we're going to be doing like we're going to read through this chapter of the book, we're going to answer questions at the end of the book, we're going to talk about this thing, and then I'm going to have these handouts you should do, and we would just maybe we'll just go in the back and play on the computers all day today.
What's up with like the physics classroom always having like the coolest stuff, and not particularly relating to physics, just stuff? Because that's how my physics classroom was too. I just thought of the coolest physics story. Would you like to hear it? We just literally
like we don't want to finish my story first.
Okay, well, I'm gonna cue it up and not listen to you at all. Continue. No, I'm joking.
Okay, that sounds perfect. Wow, they really turned spicy in this first episode of the podcast. They even like each other. But we'd end up like we'd make a deal. We're like, we'll do the handouts, and then we'll go play FPSs on the computers in the back for the rest of the class time.
Flash games.
Like, all right. Yeah, it was the best. I mean, I did pretty good in that class. I think I got an A. But
I actually physics was like surprisingly like I got an A in it, and I really enjoyed it. Like I think the reason that I enjoyed it was because I was super into like game dev, and I still am. But I was like, okay, I can write like a physics engine or something. I gotta take in all this knowledge and apply it later. It's totally useful. It wasn't that useful, but I was I thought that I was interested, so I passed.
Yeah, where I was like, it's math, but more applied. Cool, I can get into this.
Yeah, exactly.
So I wasn't, most of the time, I wasn't actually going in the back and playing video games, but sometimes I was.
Sometimes.
Like, we definitely had days where we would just be like, no, we're not learning today. But I was a good student. Don't worry about me, guys. I was a good boy.
But so like
Jax's physics story.
Yeah, so my physics story is I had a really good time in physics, and I really wanted to like somehow like, I don't know, really apply what I was learning. So we had this presentation where basically we had to take like a physics problem and explain some kind of real world thing with it. So I did like a physics like a jump triggered not a kinematics equation, and I used mirror's edge, and a lot of people, they were like talking. They would like, I really wanted to avoid like presenting like in front of the class. So I was like, I'm gonna make a video. I'm gonna edit a video and do all this stuff, and it's gonna be really in depth, and it's gonna be great. And everyone else was like, I'm lazy. I'm gonna talk and just do a PowerPoint. So boring. I don't remember any of them. I remember mine really well because I made a freaking video about fucking physics of mirror's edge. I like reverse engineered like footage of like Faith like running and jumping across a building and landing on a pipe. And I didn't know anything about the actual like calculations that was going on, but I do the math. So I calculated out the math, and I was like, yeah, when she hits the pole, she's got like, 20 billion newtons of force hitting her like face. But I have no idea if that was actually reasonable or not. Like, she could have died, and I just would have been like, that's the equation. And I like literally like took the footage and I put it in like 3ds Max or whatever, and I tracked it with like Adobe After Effects. So I had all the like tracking data, and I put real like it was like super in-depth
high school project.
Absurd, yeah, seriously, just to not present and like actually apply what I was learning.
I'm waiting for the end of the story where you got like a C- on it.
No, I got an A. Very boring.
Okay. Just like, and then my teacher was like, I wanted you to do a PowerPoint. What is this garbage?
I can tell you an F story. I think I got a D- on a presentation once. That was in economics. It was so bad. Yeah. I mean, I actually enjoyed economics kind of because I also felt that was kind of like actually applicable to.
I didn't
like,
even have an economics class.
Oh, yeah, I think it was an elective. But yeah. So we had to do a presentation. I hate presentations, by the way. I have no idea how I'm a Twitch streamer. I literally lock up and freeze and die anytime
presentate all the time.
I hate presentating. It's the worst. When there's people just staring at you and you're like, what would you like to say, dearest presenter? I'm like, I'm going to say I'm going to go away. Goodbye. And I just walk out the door. That's what I'd like to do.
All presentations that you have to do, you should do from VR.
Yes, that would probably help, actually. But then another problem with presenting is that you have to memorize stuff, which is exactly what I was supposed to do.
True.
We were supposed to give a presentation about like the economics of like introducing like restaurants in like a food court for like a school or something, and how it would affect like the economics of the school or the businesses and stuff. And it was a group project, and none of us knew what we were doing, and they wanted me to talk because I'm like, I guess, charismatic, they thought, and I blew it. I blew it. I was like, I think I specifically remember one very traumatic part of the presentation where she was like, so where is the company at or something? I don't know why she asked that. And I was like, oh, over there. I went full comedy mode because I didn't know what I was talking about. So I was like, oh, it's over there. He was like, that's not, where is that? Like she wanted like Texas or something, and I pointed that way. The class is like,
that way.
Where?
Huh?
Yeah. Huh? And it was not at all what I was supposed to be doing, and I failed. But at least it was funny. So that being said, the educational tip of the day is if you're gonna fail something, do it with style.
I had this friend who always managed to like get into a situation where he should fail and then somehow would get lucky and succeed.
No fucking way.
So we had this one thing where it was just like we had to like read a book. Maybe it was like summer reading or something. I don't know. I was in like 10th grade.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it's one of those like silly projects that you never do now, but like design a book cover for the book or something, like one of those kinds of things. So like you had like 5 different things you could choose from, and I chose I made a book cover. I'm not very artistically skilled, but I spent like a lot of time making this thing really nice. Yeah, and then my one friend was like, "Oh yeah, I didn't read my book." What are you gonna do? So he read the back cover of the book.
Yo, that's a strategy. Let's go.
But his project type he chose was book talk. So he had to stand in front of the classroom.
Oh no!
For
so they ask questions
minutes.
about it, and you're supposed to like know what happens.
So he gives. Well, it was like he gives a story about like what happened in the book and what he learned from it, and like the teacher could ask questions, and so it was kind of open ended. But it was just like telling people like why you liked the book, what was good about it, what was bad about it. And he read the one paragraph on the back cover.
Like he read it?
And
oh, okay, like beforehand.
He read that like before, like he had a copy, he found a copy of the book day of, brought it into the classroom, read the back of the book as he got up in front of class, and then was like, all right, this was the book I read.
Wait, I just remember what this is about. So they succeed. Like he succeeded.
3.5 minutes into his book talk, he's running out of material to ad lib on the back of the book, and the fire alarm goes off.
Oh my god. That's so lucky. That's luck that I've never had in my entire life. I never get that lucky.
Grades come out eventually. And I got an A- on my book cover, and he got an A on his book talk. And I was
way.
I'm not at all competitive with that kind of thing. I don't really care. Like I had good grades.
But it's like
when it's really
that unfair,
but there was just something about that. I'm like,
and you just have the knowledge that nobody else does. Yeah, dude, that's messed up.
It's not okay.
Yeah.
But he would have like once a year he would get away with something like that. And it was just like, how do you
I think everyone has that kind of kid like in their class though, who just always like procrastinates or just has the charisma to just go through anything ad-libbed. Like I had a kid in my Spanish class in middle school, and he just didn't know any Spanish, but he would just suddenly study like day of and just present. He had so much charisma that he could just present perfect sentences that were exactly tailored to the presentation and be like, yeah, just like ad lib with me, bro. And I'm like, dude, I don't know Spanish. How am I supposed to do that?
He's like, me neither.
Yeah, but he just like somehow could do it. And I'm like, dude, I have to practice. Like, I need to know what we're going to say. Like, I'm not like you. I don't know how you're doing that. You're like literally doing magic.
I had another person you just reminded me of he was supposed to like do a report on birds or something and he just forgot.
What?
Like he just legit forgot that he had a presentation to give. And so
what?
he was just like, my project, like it was just like I don't remember why he just had to pick a bird and talk about it or something.
Yeah.
That was the premise.
Did he just pick up like a bird that he actually knew about?
No, he just picked the blue-footed booby.
He did not. He
very much did. He did.
He did not.
And then he went up and gave a talk about it and talked about their wingspans and talked about their colors. He knew kind of he knew that part of them was blue.
Did he make it up? Like all of it was just made up?
And then like, yes, to the point that like he called up a volunteer from the class to like, they like did the mating ritual dance together.
What?
Where like one would lift the wing and wave it at the other, and then the other one would touch the wing with their beak, like, and he's just ad-libbing this whole thing.
Did the teacher like fall for it?
Up. Yes, she didn't know. She didn't know anything about that particular bird.
Freaking way, dude. This is like why I could never be a teacher. Because I just don't trust students. Because I was one of them, and I know what they do. Students are the most devious fucking people, which is, it's everyone, but like there's always that one student who just is a magician and nobody knows how they do what they do. That's so good. And then like that's like what just sets the tone for the rest of the class, where they're like, I put so much time and effort, and if I don't get as good as a grade or better, I'm gonna be pissed.
That being said, though, you also like, I could imagine as a teacher, I think that was in an English class. So I feel like you could go, you know what? He did lie the entire time, but I got to give him credit for it. Like teachers are people. Teachers are like,
yeah, it's like a different thing.
I feel like when you're a kid, you look at like teachers and adults and people like there's somehow a different class of people. Like you and we're not, I don't think, but we could be the teachers right now.
That's true.
Like
probably.
That's
gross.
No,
Why'd you say that? That's
magical...
gross. Am I that old? Sheesh.
Yes.
Don't like that.
Well,
yes.
Well, I just mean like there's no magical line between like you don't, when you hit 18 you don't magically go, oh, I have been enlightened. Someone plugged the matrix cord into the back of my head and now I understand.
Dude, when I was in like second grade, I thought fifth graders were like
trying to figure out what we're doing.
I thought fifth graders were like approaching death. It's like not quite.
I remember I was 14 and in an amusement park and someone walked up behind me and like tapped me on the shoulder, and this little kid was like, "Excuse me, sir, could you move so I can read the sign?" And I was like, I just got called sir. I'm too young to be called sir. What is maybe it's Mister?
Is that
but
way?
Either way, I was just like,
is that way adults would always like, not always, but like sometimes be like, can you just call me like my first name and not like all this other extra shit?
Probably
because they just was weird.
Just like,
I get it now. I get it.
Just be me.
Yeah, I don't want to be Mr. Me. Just call me me.
But I always thought of teachers as like these somehow like other beings in a way.
Yeah.
Where it was just
same.
Like they were still people, but they were just like you didn't
somehow more educated
emotions and feelings to them.
Yeah. No.
Like they were the people that you had to deal with, not other people. Like I feel like you don't have that sense of, oh, everyone's just going through the same stuff that I am when I'm walking through life. And so you're like, teachers didn't realize. No, teachers have been there before. They all realized that we were doing stupid stuff. They just are trying to make sure that you're learning and having a good education. And if you can ad-lib an entire speech about a bird you don't know anything about, maybe you deserve a good grade for your effort. Like,
I never thought
you
about
really
that.
put some effort into that ad-libbing.
But yeah, like teachers probably did pick up on that kind of stuff, but just been like, dang, that's just impressive. Like, I don't think I could have done that. That's crazy. A plus.
Or
sheesh.
Or like I remember I had a friend of a friend. We like went out for drinks, and like that friend of a friend was like a 5th grade teacher or something like that.
Yeah.
And they would just like say the stuff that you would always like think your teachers were thinking when you were in like 5th grade.
Oh yeah.
Just like, oh yeah, there's this one kid, and I hate him. I was like, wait, you can hate kids when you're a teacher? You're allowed to do that?
You're allowed to do that?
I always thought that was illegal.
Yeah.
It's like he's just always talking out and yelling at me. Oh, there's this other kid that are great, and like it's like, you're not allowed to pick favorites. Like, yeah, you can pick favorites. You just can't tell them.
Yeah, you can totally pick favorites. I was definitely
but I just remember being like, ha.
And also not a favorite of some teachers. Some teachers like hated me because I was the kind of kid. Not to, were you saying something? I'm totally doing the thing right.
No,
tangent
never.
off. I don't believe you, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I was totally that kid.
Keep going.
Okay, I was totally that kid who like in class, I would like speak out when other kids wouldn't, and I would like just say something random that was just funny, and teachers would either think it was the funniest shit ever, or they would hate me because I was like, tangenting off what they were saying. You know what I mean? And like,
we had that all the time.
Yeah, like I wasn't the class clown per se. Like I wasn't trying, but I just happened. Like I can't be normal. I can't like just sit and just exist. I'm too like awkward and weird. I would just say shit, and I'd be like, "That's pretty funny, I guess. I think I'm contributing." And the teacher would be like, "Can you go away? Can you go outside?" Like, oh,
I have a couple of like, I had a group of friends who would like, we would just like do that all, not even like trying to be the class clown. It was just we were all so friendly with each other, even with the teachers, that just like we would end up going on tangents. I remember there was this one, I think it was in history class, and my teacher had a stapler on his desk, and the one friend like sat right in front of the desk. So while the teacher was talking, he picked up the stapler and was like looking at it, which is fine, like whatever. But then in the middle of the teacher giving a lecture about US history or whatever, he just says, with no like raising his hand or anything, just, "This stapler was made in the USA and Canada."
Like out of nowhere.
What?
I love that.
So in a room full of like 30 kids, we're learning about US history, and he's just like shocked.
Oh my god, that's so good.
And then the teacher was just like, "Excuse me?" And he's just like, "No, look, it says USA and Canada on the bottom." And we were like, "Really? Let me see." The teacher's like, "That's not what this is about. We're talking about World War II or something."
Yeah. Those are my favorite kind of like classroom experiences, though. When just some kid does something completely out of line, and you're like, "That's amazing! I'm right there with you." And the teacher's like, "Can you please?" Why?
Because we were so like colloquial with each other, we would sometimes do that with the teachers too, and usually worked.
Oh yeah.
But I had one friend, I wasn't in this class, and I wish that I was. Like we would like joke back and forth with each other all the time, and he forgot the line between teacher and student one day. And he had these like snow, I think they were like Uggs. They're like the like snow boots. Yeah. Like very they're always a controversial kind of fashion, but he really loved them. And he specifically had a pair that he just had destroyed, but he kept wearing them. Like they had tears in them, but he would duct tape them over. So he goes into the class one day, and the teacher looks at his shoes and just very politely asks him, and I will say his response at the same speed that he did for the story to work out, looks at him and goes, blah, blah, blah. "What's wrong with your shoes? What's wrong with your face?"
Oh shit. Oh
Which
my
is
god.
just like a silly thing that we would say to each other. It was funny.
Totally.
But she just apparently had this look of horror across her face, and was just like, kid's name, like, "Can you please come into the hallway with me for a moment, please?"
No.
And he's just like, "Wait, why?"
Oh
what?
my god, dude. It's all rushing back.
It's the most insulting thing that anyone has ever said to. It's like, wait, what did I say? Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. I didn't even hear it when I said it. It was just it was a thing. Like I didn't, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like he was confused because he's like,
That's
I didn't
happened to
even know
me.
that I said anything.
I don't know of a specific example, but that's
reflexive.
like I remember the emotions of being like, "Oh, I didn't even know that I said that," and it offended you. Like I didn't think it would be offensive. I just was saying stuff. Please don't take it offensively. It's not actually true. I just literally was just saying stuff. Stupid shit. Please, I'm just stupid.
And that happens to me sometimes where I'll say something and then after I say it, I'm like, oh, that comes off a lot meaner than I meant it. Oof. I was just trying to like do a goof here.
Yeah, like, but like teachers, they like, sometimes they just aren't, they don't get it. So like it's combined with like, they don't get it, but they also are like the authority and they need to like educate. So like, they like, are like, dang, like I need to like put you in your plate. Like let you understand. Like, but it's not like we understand. We're just like not, it's like I thought we were cool. We're not that cool, I guess. Yeah. So sorry.
But then I've also had teachers just like straight up insult me. Yeah. But like as like part of a bit like the students were doing. And it was just like, wow, that was a good one, actually. I'm like, I'm kind of impressed that you nailed me with that.
I actually kind of love that.
I didn't expect it coming from you.
I always thought that was kind of neat. It's like, dang, like, we're cool. Let's go. You just insulted me. I love that. You're so unprofessional. I could report you right now, but I'm not gonna because we're cool, homie. Like, fucking, like, dab me up, dog. Let's go. You in? Holy shit.
I could definitely get you fired right now for what you just said, but we're cool now.
We homies.
I definitely have a couple of those that I won't tell right now. We're just
definitely.
If I told that story to the right people, they would have gotten a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Oof. But at the time, we all thought it was hilarious. It was a good joke. Like,
dang, I had a really good story, but it totally slipped my tongue. Feels bad. I have a lot of like bad stories though, where like I was doing something. Post. Yeah, just add it in post. Yeah, I'll just voice it over later. Like I'm gonna remember.
Hello, this is Jax story
Black Jax VR tuning in here from the editing bay.
Completely different microphone quality. Like, hello, this is Jax VR.
Hello, I'm not in VR now.
I'm sick now.
Unfortunately, it's like 2 weeks later. I'm sick. I don't have I'm not in VR, so it's not the same microphone quality. Yeah.
That's something you can't do on Twitch, but here we are on the YouTube.
Oh yeah, wow. Totally, that's crazy. We can edit stuff in post. I love it.
Yeah, we could hire voice actors.
Oh my god, to like
just dub us over. Listen to this and then play us and sound cooler.
Hello, Master Chief here. I am dubbing over Black Jax VR. And Hryv is going to be dubbed over by
If you're Master Chief, I'll just be the Halo announcer. You'll say a whole thing at me, just Killionaire.
That's it. Just literally just responding like just medals. Running riot.
So Hryv, what do you think about this issue in the world politic right now? Double kill. I mean, I guess it is kind of a war on two fronts. Triple kill. What's the third front in this?
Oh my god. Sheesh.
Overkill.
Time check? I just realized I should check the time. Wow, it's been like a solid maybe 52 minutes. That's crazy. Wow. Sheesh.
Does that include the first 10 minutes where
I don't know.
We weren't recording you?
I actually really don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned in the beginning, but we had a very scuffed first 10 minutes, which I don't know. It's not usable.
You did mention.
No. Yeah. Well, not usable.
It was... it was you not speaking at all, or you speaking to me but not being recorded. So it was just
cut to Hryv responding to me where I'm not, where I think I'm talking, but I'm definitely not.
We had about 16 of those today. Like, sit in front of this cave. It's a nice cave. No, not the cave. How about this spot with the water and the moon, maybe? And the nope, never mind. Let's not do that. Okay, we should start over. Okay,
welcome back.
That's a good idea. Like a transition screen.
God, why would you do that? Now I have to go look for a transition clip. God. I did so much research on YouTube to find that good, like, boop from the last podcast. God.
It was good.
Thank you.
Check out the first podcast or the Zeroth podcast if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, check it out.
There's some good editing in it.
I'll put in the end slate link right there. Actually, I have no idea how to do that. I think there's options for that, but I really don't know.
Time to learn.
And plus, I don't know. I think like
or because we've mentioned it, you can like link it in the little I button that's up in the top
there's a
corner.
little I button up there. Yeah, you could totally click that.
But that's the thing is like with YouTube, they're always changing that kind of stuff.
That's true.
So like,
there's videos from like way
you'll
long
go watch
ago.
an old video and people are like, click the subscribe button.
And there's nothing there.
Here's the annotate.
Yeah.
Read the annotations for more information.
Yeah. I can't remember how it is now, but
here's our
they put the title on the
here's
bottom,
our
I
side
think.
panel.
And it used to be on the top with the subscribe button to like the left or something. And now it's totally opposite.
Yeah,
it's like on the bottom to the right.
left, yeah. Or on the right.
Yeah. Something like that.
It used to be on the right. Like
Yeah.
in an info panel.
Yeah.
I think.
So they just point to some random direction, be like, subscribe. And you're like, that's not.
To the point that some people are just like, hey, remember to click subscribe.
It's somewhere.
And you're like, that's actually more reasonable.
It actually is, yeah. Because they do just move it around. And like, working with the actual UI is not preferable. It's one of those things where like, I'd like to future-proof my content, and I don't think that I want to do that. Or what if it's embedded?
And I don't love how they do end cards that you can't turn off. So like,
true.
You'll be watching a video. It'll be like, to go back to a topic we joked about earlier, you'll be watching like sports replays or something like that. And it's an important last clip. And then in the last 10 seconds of the video, they have two boxes that show other videos you can watch. And they cover the entire video and you can't see the thing you were trying to see. And there's no way to turn it off except watch it on mobile or literally edit the HTML just to see that 10 seconds of video, which I've done once because it was important to me.
Yeah.
I was like, you've rendered,
like,
you've made it impossible for me to see the thing I need to see.
That reminds me of Netflix. Like Netflix has, they cut out the credits sometimes, but the credits sometimes actually has stuff. They don't cut it out, but like, I think it's Netflix.
Put in the corner or whatever.
Yeah.
Each of them does it in a different way.
Yeah. And they like actually are cutting out real content. Like I want to watch that.
I even when it's not real content, I specifically like watch or at least play the credits when I'm watching a show.
Yeah. Well, it's like, pay my respects. I just consume all that content.
People put a lot of work on this, even if I don't. Actually, when I'm watching movies, a lot of times I will like watch the credit. Like I'll watch the credits and like I've watched it like as a joke before because I've always like I've always stayed for them when I'm like going to the movies.
Yeah.
But like I've watched a movie with other people once and like jokingly like they'll be talking and I'll be looking at the credits and I'll be like, wait, actually that guy was in the movie. I didn't even realize. I know I've seen him in a different movie. Like
that's
or hey, look at that guy's name. That's an awesome name.
I only watch the credits because of potential mid-roll or end of the credit rolls scenes.
I mean, those are fun too.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just kidding, by the way.
The last movie I saw in theaters, I specifically didn't like one of the ways that characters rendered in the credits font. I'm like, should I send a message to the director to tell him I don't like the font in his credits?
Can you fix your shit?
It was specifically like when an A and a V appeared next to each other, or maybe the other way around, there was like a big space between them to the point that it looked like a separate word. So it only happened like a few times in very specific names. But I was just like, that doesn't look right. You should make that into a ligature where they're closer together. Like fix the kerning. It's just the most minuscule criticism.
You just like completely like reawoken my like passion for like wanting to make a film. Like I grew up before I knew that I was a programmer. And before I could do any kind of skill, I really wanted to make like video, like not videos, but like movies, right? I wanted to like write something, record something. Hello, making YouTube videos. Wow, pog. I wanted to like have like a some kind of crazy climax, and then like something bad happens, but then they fix it, and then like the credit screen rolls and it plays a really sick song that I'm listening to right now and totally vibing to. You know what I mean? Like, let's go, yeah. Like I'm super inspired right now. Like that was my thought process. But then like, obviously by the time I would actually be able to ever make a movie, I'd probably not even care about that song anymore. But I always wanted to like make something that would make the credits just feel so good to like see eventually.
Yeah.
Where like you're like, wow, like I don't know, like have you ever seen like a movie or like an anime or something where you're like, I don't know who I am anymore? Like that was so good. I don't know what to do with myself.
Well, that's the other thing. That's the other reason I like credits is sometimes you finish a movie and you're just like, I gotta sit here and think about this, and this gives me like a soundtrack to think to.
Exactly. Like the best movies, you don't want to leave during the credits because it was just so good, and you're like, I can't move. I gotta think. Oh my god, I haven't had that in a long time. for like
I saw this one movie and it had like a post. What are they called? What's the opposite? Like a postlude, like a prelude, but epilogue. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, epilogue. Yeah.
So it had like at the end of the movie, like the visuals were done, but then like while they showed like a sunset or something like that, the like text was scrolling telling you how the story ended after the story ended.
Yeah.
And people were getting up and leaving during it.
No, why?
Like
Dude,
the movie's over. There's text
lore
on the screen. And like it would be if it was just like, okay, yeah, it was a crazy movie or something and you don't care about that for whatever reason, like, but it was in a like the end of the movie was emotional. Like I was welled up with tears at the moment, and I'm like having to dodge looking around people to read what happened to these characters. I'm like,
Same.
What's wrong with you? I'm almost crying here.
It's like I never understood why like people go see a movie and then like as soon as the credits roll, they're like, okay, gotta get the fuck out of here. Like I'm out. It's like, you know, it's gonna take you maybe like 2 more minutes.
So I can drive faster.
Yeah, it's gonna take you like 2 more minutes to wait for other people to walk in front of you once the credits end. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you like? You watched the whole movie. Where are you rushing to?
Mm-hmm. And even like, that's one of the nice things about post-credit scenes is I feel like more people stay because they don't know if there's going to be one.
Yeah, it's like a nice payoff too.
For me, the reason I don't skip them for TV shows is because there was once an anime that I watched where I specifically like it was like a 13 episode show. Mm-hmm. And I watched the opening and the ending for like the first episode, and then for all the rest I think I skipped the opening and the ending.
Oof. Yeah.
And that means within like 2 hours I was done with the show. Mm-hmm. Like and then like the last episode played and like I was listening to like they changed the way that the ending went a little bit on the last song.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it was a really emotional show, and I was just like, I was really like happy, sad. I think it had a happy ending. But it was like, I was just like, I'm so happy for them. I'm glad it worked out. But at the same time, I was like, I was absorbed in this universe now, and it was over. I'd sped through it to get from beginning to end, and I didn't give myself the time to digest and enjoy myself.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it was over.
Yeah, feels bad. Like
and
if you
I was just left like feeling like hollow about it, and I'm just like, I wish I had more of the show, and now I can't. And I've seen it also recently that like I watched it all in the past 2 hours, so like watching it again wouldn't give me anything, and I feel like I wasted it. I feel like I didn't give myself like if I watched this on TV, I would have had to watch one episode a week.
Yeah,
and like
now
get
you have
think
to wait
about each episode for a week.
Like a year or like your entire lifetime for the next season. Way worse.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
There's so many animes where I like was like that was amazing, and then the next season never happens. Feels so bad.
Yeah.
Especially those 13 episoders.
About, like, binging, like they release shows like a lot now. We're just like, this like the whole show's on Netflix, right? Like we released to Netflix and the whole show is there, or Hulu or Amazon Prime or whatever, etc. YouTube Red, whatever it's called now.
Clear, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
YouTube Premium. I think it's just Premium.
Yeah. But yeah, like you'll have the availability for all of these things immediately. But I kind of liked when you had to sit and think about a show for a week and like speculate online or something like that. Like if you have a show that is mysterious or something, like I never like, what's that one that people liked a long time ago? Lost. I never watched it.
Oh, freaking Lost, man.
It was one of those things.
Oh my God.
I never watched it. I think I saw like one episode. I still
don't know how that ends. Like I watched maybe the first season, and I was so young. Like my parents just like watched it because it was just on TV, and like we were into it. But then after the first season, maybe it started to just nothing was being solved, and it got really crazy and like more different. And then we kind of just tuned out and then tuned back in maybe like a few seasons down the line, and they were just doing all this crazy shit where they were like underground and like trying to fight like stuff, and we were like, what happened to like the dinosaur that was walking through the island? Like what happened to that? And we just didn't care. That was one of those shows. I feel like I don't know why that was my example, but it's one of those shows where like
people would talk about it for the whole week. Like, what's the next thing that's going to happen?
Yeah,
like,
no, it was really good at
We
suspense and like
binge
keeping
it.
you watching. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like if you don't,
And because everyone was on the same schedule for it,
Yeah.
I don't know why I pronounce that Britishly,
Schedule.
but because everyone was on the same schedule for it, they were like, no one knew. Like, it's the same with like, I guess
Yeah.
like Game of
that's
Thrones
exactly
was
why
like
I
that
liked
too.
watching
Another one
the
I didn't
first
watch.
season. Yeah. I remember there
Where
was
like Game of Thrones, like everyone would like go in and be like talking about it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't watch that show, but yeah.
I should.
But the fact that like there was this communal, like everyone has seen this one thing, but no one knows what happens next, and you can come up with fan theories and you can talk to your friends about it and this, that, and the other. But now it's a lot of the things are just like, well,
Here
I
it
watched
all
the
is.
first season. What do you think's gonna happen next season? Yeah.
Sheesh. Yeah, I remember there was a new show that had just come out, and me and my dad got like hooked on it. There was like I forget, I think it was called Surface. I remember it actually. It's called Surface. You can look it up. I think it only had one season because it got canceled because apparently nobody watched it. But it was about like this alien that like like this dude became friends with. And the whole city or something gets flooded, and they're like trying to figure out like this alien problem or something with like the same species that dude made friends with or whatever. And we were super into it, and we're like, oh man, like can't wait for the next season. And then it happened. Rip.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I've had a couple shows like that where it's just like I'm like, man, I'm really into this show and I'm excited every week when it comes out, and then the series ends and like, yeah, no one actually watched that but
Yeah,
you.
it's
Like,
like,
we had one
you
viewer
were an
and it was
outlier.
you.
You're weird.
I had one of them that I watched where like they had an ending planned for the season, and then like halfway through the season they got word that they were canceled and that they could
Oh,
finish
no.
the season out,
No.
but they were canceled. So they
Dude.
had to like switch out how the ending happened so that it didn't end on a cliffhanger for the next season. It just went
no, dude,
like,
that sucks.
a finger snaps and then and then everything was good. The end. Like, what? Why?
Yeah.
There were so many loose ends and you just went, well, we tied them all up. Everyone's fine and happy now. They did it.
Top 10 ways to just completely ruin like a fictional storyline is just, oh, you got canceled, by the way. Better wrap it up. Whoops. Oh, you switched directors.
like,
Oh, your director got
I
fired.
don't-
Better switch it up. That's like what happened with like so many like games and movies like Halo Infinite and stuff like that. I think they switched directors like 3 times or something. Whoopsie. Times are tough.
And then you have I don't think it's happened in a while, but there used to be a like every few years you'd have a writer's strike.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was
Yeah.
just like, well, our popular sitcom has to go on, so we're gonna find
remember that. Yeah.
picket line jumpers and have them try their best to write scripts, even though they're not professional enough
God.
writers to
I wish
be in
I
the
could
writers
think
union.
of like a good show as an example. Do you think any like popular shows had that happen, like Friends or something, or like The Office? Do you
I'm
know?
sure they did at the time. I mean,
No,
I
there's
don't
so
know
many
what. I can't remember
seasons.
the last time it happened.
It has to be.
Yeah. Because it's not like they always like write out an entire season at once. A lot of times you do just like they have to write filler episodes while they're waiting for the people who can write
Yeah,
come back, or they
yeah.
can just not air the show.
Yeah.
But then all the advertisers drop. It puts them in a spot that's good for the writers who are trying to get paid better.
True. Yeah.
It was similar. Going back to sports again, the NFL had that a few years ago, where the referee union didn't get a agreement with the NFL in time, so the referees had a strike, or I think the referees got locked out officially. So like, they weren't the ones who walked out. The NFL said, you won't agree to our terms, so you can't be referees, I think is how it happened. So similar effect, but like you guys have to sit on the sideline, but you're not choosing to, rather than them choosing to.
Yeah.
But I think that's how it happened. But so they brought in college refs and like refs from other small leagues you've never heard of.
Oh my. Oh my.
So like they had like, oh, this person is from this 5-on-5 women's football team. We'll have the conference. We'll have him be a,
like a
NFL
substitute
ref
teacher.
now for just a few weeks. Right. So they were the substitute teachers of referees. But the problem was, the quality of refereeing was a little bit lower because there were things that they could miss because they just weren't used to this super high level of play. They were doing their best. I had an uncle who was like a a college referee. Like they do their best. They're ranked intentionally. Yeah. Like they have the referees at the top level are the top referees usually. Like that's the point. Mm-hmm. They have leagues just like everybody. Like if you're at the NFL level, you've been working as a referee for 25 years. You don't just get hired there as a brand new guy.
God damn, I haven't been alive for more than 25 years. Oh my God, it's actually coming up. Never mind. Sheesh. Go on. Reminded of my mortality.
That means you can be in the U.S. House of Congress, I think. Is
let's
25
go.
Is the age limit?
Actually,
so
let's not go. Now. Let's not.
As a VR avatar.
Oh my God! Imagine
the first
if that was possible.
House of Representatives,
like a virtual government of just VR anime people. Dude, can we start a VR continent? That'd be so sick, bro. Like a nation in VR. It wouldn't have a physical location.
It would just be in VR.
Yeah, you don't need a physical location.
Right,
it's everywhere.
So you could just do that right now. Like you could say that we're here right now when you're the king of this instance. Like,
okay, this actually doesn't quite work, does it? Sheesh.
Yeah, no.
Times are tough.
I mean, if you start your own, like if you start Jax VR and it's just like your own metaverse, as the kids are calling it. No one calls it that. Only corporate people call it a metaverse.
Only them corpos. Yeah.
But you have a metaverse that you run, and you want to like add your own governmental structure to it. You could do that if you could get people to come.
Dude, that sounds like a lot of responsibility. Pass.
Right?
Can we hire like a government to do that in VR? Thank you.
I guess it would be kind of cool. Like if you wanted to, like if you had a VR thing where it's like Minecraft-y, where like you spawn in and there isn't anything yet, and then people actually have to like build stuff to have stuff, but they can't just build anywhere. Like if they just build anywhere without a permit, they get in trouble because other people could have that land. And so like you could make something where like you could have a governmental structure to you. I mean, I guess that's what like EVE Online, I think, has like that level of like people have corporations and stuff.
Whoa. What if you what if you set up like a virtual government that was like Minecraft-y and like everything started from zero and you had to like actually contribute to society and like get a job and stuff, but then you got like paid with like some virtual currency, but the virtual currency could actually get you to like ship stuff to your actual like real life location. Wouldn't that be crazy? Like some kind of commerce that was real life tie-in, but it was all based in virtual reality. That'd be so crazy. Holy shit.
That'd be pretty
virtual
cool.
Politics.
You want to quit the podcast and start that instead?
Sounds like something I don't want to run, but I like it. If anybody wants to steal that idea, feel free.
But I would work the fields in VR.
Well, I mean, like, dude, that's like a lot of responsibility, man. Like it's like my job. Like they gave me a when we did like performance reviews, they were like, would you want to have eventually like a managerial kind of position? And I was like, no.
No. Agreed.
I like programming, but I want more like a higher salary for sure. Yes, I'll take that. But I want to be needed in the fact that like if you fire me, like you won't know what's going on anymore and have no idea where to take the program. I don't want to like tell people where to take the program. I want to be the one who does that. You know what I mean? That's the kind of value that I want.
Right, exactly.
Because I wouldn't be as good.
I think that's a question.
I wouldn't contribute as well if I was managing stuff. I'm a programmer.
But I think some people do. I think it's a useful question to ask because I've definitely been asked that before as well.
For sure. I mean, that's a good.
But I know people who
stepping stone. Yeah.
I know people who are like, oh, actually, like not as a people manager, but like as a project manager who like has a technical background, like being able to look at something and go like, oh, you know what? I used to work on that kind of thing, but I have an idea of how like. I knew this one guy he was always a pretty good programmer, but he definitely was like he knew the name of everybody on every team and knew exactly how like the things that they were experts at and knew how to get people to work together and knew how to like come up with a vision for like this is what we're going to deliver in 1 month versus 3 months versus 6 months versus 12 months. And like he was just like, you know what? I actually think that I'm really good at that stuff, and my coding's never quite been up to par to the people around me. So I think I actually want to try shifting to that, and he enjoys that kind of stuff a lot. So like,
for sure,
I always when I get asked that question, I'm always like, I want to be an individual contributor. That's the technical term that you can tell people. Like, I don't want to be in charge of people. I don't want to choose someone's salary. Like, that sounds terrible.
Yeah. Oh
like,
God, no. Yeah. Like, yeah.
Just
no. Pass.
Give me some freedom maybe to work on a project, and I get to set the boundaries of the project. That's cool. Maybe I am allowed to tell other people, hey, I don't want to work on this. This sounds like busy work. You can work on that. That's fine. But don't like give me responsibilities more than being a contributor who's helping out other people contribute too.
Yeah. Like, that's why I became a programmer.
I'm in your boat on that one.
Because I don't want to talk to people. like I don't want to deal with customers and stuff. Like, coworkers are like, I'll deal with that. Because, like, you know, like, we're all playing the same game here. So, like, you know, it's whatever. But, like, customers and stuff, like, oh, God, please pass. And, like, managing people, like, pass.
There's always, like,
I just want to write code and
this
beat
idea
myself.
of, like, being stuck in a cubicle is terrible. I'm like, no, I'm down.
No, yeah,
I'll do that. Like,
totally sign me up. I want to stay away from everyone and just write stuff. Thank you.
And actually, as someone who's mostly worked in offices that had open layouts, so you're sitting directly next to another person who's sitting directly to another person, your desks are pushed up against each other. I would love a cubicle. I'd much rather have a cave than have to listen to the person next to me be on a phone call.
Oh God, yeah. No, that's how my current office space is. People can be like, you can be like listening to music and like jamming and like typing and like super in the flow of it. And some people be like, hey, they'll like wave in front of your face and be like, what the frick? What are you doing? Just send me a DM, man. So why are you like that?
Right, exactly.
Like, give me my space.
I used to have these headphones that they were like in-ear headphones, but they had like, they weren't just like the like earbuds. They like really went deep into your ear and had these like little like flanged tips to them, so they were hard. Like, you couldn't just pull them out. You had to like lift up your ear and pull them. Like, there was a process to it.
Yeah.
And I loved those specifically because if somebody came up to my desk to ask me a question, they were isolating, so I couldn't really hear them. But then I'd notice them, and then I would like make a big show of like, all right, gotta like pull up my ear and then pull this
so
out.
They learn to not do it ever again.
On the music, and then and like make a big show of the fact, like, man, this is really a hassle.
Yeah, you were like, really ruining my life.
Hey,
right now,
I was
man.
just wondering about this. You know what? Next time I'll just send you a DM. I'm like,
that
you get it.
You've learned.
Cool.
Just conditioning them. You're learning.
There was this one guy at my last job. I don't know why, but he. My desk, like, I was in an area of desks, and I was near the back, and my desk was facing the entryway into that area of desks. So now that you can picture that, he would just sometimes have a question for me, and he would sprint into my area and run directly at me to get my attention.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I would just be sitting there, and I just see this man go and run up to me. I'm like, whoa! All my concentration. I was in the zone. I was working on something. Everything in my head's gone now. And he's just like standing there panting, trying to catch his own breath from running to my desk. I'm like, what's up? Is the office on fire? And he was just like, hey, could you send me a link to this thing? I'm like, yeah, I can.
You literally would have been
like
more
a half hour of
productive if you just sent
concentration.
me a DM, because I just could have sent you the link. Yeah, dude, I feel like every workplace, programmer related or not, has that, like, at least one coworker who's just really like way too much. Where you're like,
just please read the room.
Yeah, like man, like, you're an outlier. Chill. Like, we're chilling. There's no rush. Like, you don't have to yell. You like, There's don't worry about it, man.
I remember at one point, I was on this one.
Oh, Hryv. Hi. I don't know what happened to Hryv. Cut to when he comes back or doesn't.
That was the longest crash ever. I was there until you said I check DMs.
Yeah, I realized that maybe you're having that one crash where like you're still there, like perceiving, and I was like, oh no. Because you just locked up completely.
I was there for like 30 seconds and you were just like, I watched you walk over there. I watched you come back. And then you're like, hey, buddy. Hello.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'll check my DM. And I'm just like, I was like, do I wait for it? Maybe faster just to respawn in? Like, I don't know what the proper protocol is.
What did you do? So what did you end up doing?
I waited for the timeout.
Oh, okay. Yeah, dang. Rip. I hate when that happens.
Do we want to...
Yeah, we'll probably just... Welcome back. Oh my God.
Yeah,
I can't believe it.
Where were we? Before the world crashed down around us?
That really shook
Something
me up,
about
man.
work and people not being able to read I was just starting to say that I had one coworker once just say something like that's the thing about Hryv is he really gets like deep into his work, so I never want to bother him. Like I'll send him a message, but I'll never like walk up. Like other people I'll walk up to, but like this was in a group of programmers. He was very specifically pointing out like I seemed to be a hard worker, and that if he ever needed something from me, he wouldn't bother me. And I'm like, that's amazing. I'm glad that I've established that as if that's my reputation, that he's not standoffish and he's very friendly, but when he's deep in the zone, it's better to just send him a message than to bother him while he's working.
Yeah, people have actually said that about me too.
Gets deep into his work.
I get really deep into it.
That's perfect. Please.
Yeah. It's like I'm like listening to music and I'm like thinking about like what I'm programming, and like if you just send me a DM, like I'll probably just be like, oh dang, there's a little beep boop boop down there. I'm gonna click on it and see what they're talking to me about, instead of like waving in front of my face or like in the peripheral vision trying to get my attention from the other desk. Like that's the worst. Like that sends like shivers down my spine when I see that. It's like, ooh.
I've had it at least once where they actually gave up.
Yeah,
where like they didn't want to do the full like hand between face and monitor because that feels too rude, but they like walked up and were like, hey oh, I guess he doesn't see me, and walked away. And I'm like, I saw you the whole time, and I'm celebrating right now that somehow, like, it's like a bear in the woods. Like, maybe if I don't move, it won't see me.
Dude.
Maybe if I don't stop programming.
No, I've had times where, like, they'll only try and talk to me, but I'm listening to music really loud. But I have, like, headphones where they don't know that I'm listening to music really loud. So they'll be like, yo, like, hello. And then once they finally get my attention, like way later or at a different time, they'll be like, yeah, I tried to get your attention earlier and I said your name for like 30 minutes. I was like, why did you do that? Why would you do that? It just makes me look bad.
DM me.
Chill.
Yeah. I feel like the jerk and I didn't do anything.
I didn't do anything. I was just working. Like I'm doing my job. Man.
Yeah.
And it's always like something that doesn't even really matter. They're like, yeah, like I just want to know if you want to like a Pop-Tart. I was like, no.
Free Pop-Tart? Yes. Why didn't you interrupt me?
Yeah, you should have just put it on my desk, man. Dude, speaking of free stuff, I had a coworker who was like, do you want a free lens? Like not a lens, but like some kind of like Panasonic lens cover shot thing. And I was like, no, like I don't have that camera. And he was like, but I really want to get rid of this, and like you might eventually have that camera, or you can put it on a different camera that you might have. I'm like, no, I don't have any camera. And he's like, but like you could totally take this from me. And I was like, okay. I just
Why are you trying to talk me into this?
And he was like, yeah. He was like, thanks, like I hope you enjoy it. And I'm like, I won't, but like I can throw it away for you. I can keep it and do nothing with it, or I can resell it. But it's like something that's not really resellable. So yeah,
so
dude,
where is it?
It's probably still on my desk actually. It was very recent, unless somebody took it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know why. Coworkers are so weird sometimes. So like, just if you thought like VR people were quirky, imagine working with like a lot of a huge variety of different people who like may or may not be like you. Some people are just weird, and you're like, why are you like that, man? Why are you giving me a lens cover? I don't want it. I'm literally telling you. Please stop. But I want to give it to you.
I like the people who bring in like
I want to give you free
bagels or cake.
I want to give you this bagels. Yeah, that's always cool.
I want free bagels.
The only problem like with at my workplace is that they'll bring in free stuff, like free food, but they won't tell us. Like they'll put it in the break room, but I'm not at the break room until like lunch, if at all, because I might go out and get food.
So like see an empty bagel box?
Yeah, an empty bagel box at like 2 p.m. when I go to get like a soda or something. I'm like, what? There was like donuts and stuff in here earlier? Like, what? Come on. Somebody should have told me. So now I have to like, if I'm like feeling lucky, I'll like do a round around the morning and check it, maybe fill out my water bottle.
You just got to make like a mailing list of free food aficionados. Like
that'd be productive. Set it up like, hey, I'm bringing in free food today. Come check it out. We have no system for that.
I remember we had one where it was like, I wasn't part of it, but there was like a scavengers group. We're like, hey, we had a meeting earlier and we didn't eat all of the food that we had catered for the meeting. So if you're a vulture and you want a free half a sandwich.
Yes, I've done that. I've literally eaten like food at like 3 p.m. at the most random time after lunch I've already eaten. This is because there's food chilling in the break room that like just didn't get finished. Like pizzas and sandwiches and stuff. It's great. It's just cold, but I don't care.
I'll eat cold pizza that wasn't meant for me. It's free and feels good to get free things.
Exactly. You know what we should do?
Free cold pizza.
We should wrap it up because I believe that we've been talking for at least over an hour. And last time we talked for literally almost 2 hours. And that was way too long.
That's true. I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
I had a good time too, but I don't like want to make every single episode like, should we go for 2 hours maybe? Should we go for 3? Because we could literally just talk forever. Like,
it's true.
Once we get in the flow of it,
the more we talk, the less content we have for other episodes. What if we only had like 10 hours of content between ourselves and just didn't realize it? And then like episode 5, we're like, oh, I'm spent.
Wait, we could do that. Imagine if we just did that. Like we just recorded just 5 episodes worth. All right, time to find another world. Goodbye. No, it's actually pretty late right now, but yeah, but I guess we should wrap it up then because we have to save some content for the next episode. All this content that we have in our heads right now, we're thinking about it and just wanting to say it because we're such good content creators. Wow, man, I'm itching to say all this content.
Do you think we're good enough that people might like and maybe subscribe and click that bell?
If you like this episode, maybe hit some buttons. Which is don't hit another video, not that button. Hit the button that's red and says subscribe, and the button that says thumbs up.
I mean, actually, if you've made it this deep into the video and you want to click to another video now, that's cool with me, honestly.
Yeah, that's actually very reasonable.
If you've made it over an hour into this video and you went, all right, they're wrapping up.
Stop persuading. That's the word that I'm looking for. Stop persuading them to find other creators who aren't us, Harv. We want to keep them locked in our grip of content creation, just like every website that doesn't allow you to post Twitters and your links and your tweets. I'm not at all salty about that.
Feel free. If the next video you're clicking to is episode number 2, then also feel free to click on that.
In fact, maybe I can put an end slate up here. Somewhere over there.
Because this could be the last episode of the current, like we were talking about schedules. We're not releasing these in bulk as a season. We're releasing them one a week or so. So if this is the last episode for you at the moment, then you can go watch other stuff. If you want to watch another one of these, that's cool. If you want to watch something else and then come back and watch another one of these later because you don't want to just binge the whole thing and you want time to think about all the stuff we talked about, that's great too. We just want you to have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. We just want you to have a good time. That being said, goodbye. See you in the next episode. I hope that you enjoyed. I'm literally pogging out of my mind. That's a Twitch term in case you don't watch Twitch. We're on YouTube. That's crazy. See you next time. SEO has to be good. So we're gonna cut it off here. Goodbye. I love it. Good episode. We did it. Woo! Definitely leave this in. See behind the scenes. Definitely cut out all the audio that I added.
Over the black screen.
Yeah, definitely cut out all the extra ambient noise that I added, just so you hear the pure raw audio of us clapping and stuff. Sheesh.